Hi guys, so today I want to share my experience with you. The fact that my family won't be attending my wedding. Obviously I'm not happy about it, and last night I was just heartbroken and grieving. So I want to share the story of how it came down to this and how I'm trying to cope. I'm hoping that some people, especially those who can relate with this subject, can maybe find comfort in knowing that they're not alone. I personally did some online research and I read about other people's stories, and it just brought me comfort in the fact that, yeah, just knowing that I'm not alone and that there's hope and that I can overcome this. Okay, so this past weekend, I finally got a wedding date. So my wedding is going to be in early September. So that is kind of a short notice, but that's what my fiance and I decided on. So I, let my family know. I called and texted them, just to make them aware, since it is a short notice, before sending out invitations. So my family lives in Pennsylvania and I live in Southern California, so that is quite a trip. But anyway, so the first person that I told, the first family member, they said to me, "Oh, I don't know if I can afford the trip." Well, actually, I would only go if my friends were going, and then we'd split the cost and it would make the trip worth it. Hearing that kind of crushed my spirit, because it felt like you were kind of saying my wedding ceremony isn't worth it, and you would rather be out having fun with friends because that'll make the trip worth it. And I don't really think you would be saving money if you were blowing all your money on fun things with your friends. So that just really hurt my feelings. So first person I invited, I guess they're probably not coming, and their words really hurt me. Someone else in my family said, "Oh, I don't think I can afford to go, but I wish I could." Understandable. It stinks, but thank you for being honest that you may not be able to make it. This part is hard for me to talk about. I was on the phone with my mom 2 days ago, and I didn't enjoy it at all. It was a phone call that had me curled up in a ball on the bed, like in a fetal position. I was on the verge of tears. So in this phone call, my mom started off by giving me updates about the family and stuff, and that was nice, to be connected and know what's going on. And then she abruptly said to me, "Why are you getting married so soon?" And it just really caught me off guard. She said it with such a serious voice, her tone completely changed. And then she asked it again. I was stunned. It made me feel like I did something wrong. Should I have not planned my wedding so soon? And I started stuttering because I got so nervous. And I was just like, "'Cause we wanted to?" And she was like, "But why?" And I said, "'Cause we're in love and we just, I don't know." And she just really scared me with that question. So right after that, she says to me, "You don't have a job yet. How are you going to get married if you don't have a job? I don't know anyone who gets married without a job. Nobody does that. Everyone gets a job first and then they get married." So she just randomly hit me with strike two, just another offensive thing to say. And I don't like how she was comparing me to other people. That is something that I'm learning in therapy, which is stop comparing myself to other people because it's just not helpful. I found myself miserable when I was comparing myself to other people, wondering why I'm different or wondering why I'm struggling in this area or that area. So I just felt like my mom was just undoing what I learned in therapy. After that, what did she say to me? She said, oh, do you really want to marry him? Yes, Mom, I do. And to be honest, I'm kind of really sick and tired of people assuming that I'm in an abusive relationship when you don't even have proof. I don't know why people just jump the gun and think that I'm in an abusive relationship. It's really weird. I honestly don't know what to make of it, but getting married is my choice. I'll say it again for the millionth time. It's my choice. I want to get married. But yeah, I guess that's not good enough. I don't know how else to prove it to you people, but yeah. Anyway, so that was really painful for me to hear. It's like, after all this time, my mom is just doubting my relationship with my fiance. And I'm sure she is, because she didn't even really get to meet him, because I had set aside a week where my fiance was supposed to meet my family and, you know, we all get to know each other. And my mom kicked me out of the house. She said my fiance wasn't welcomed because he's atheist. She didn't approve of our relationship. Funny how she didn't approve, but literally a priest approved of our relationship. I am getting married in a Catholic church. Anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, that's a really bad, and I will say traumatizing memory for me. I think about it a lot and I try not to, and I'm still actively talking about it in therapy because it's a difficult time in my life that I'm trying to overcome. Yeah, and then, yeah, it feels like my mom doesn't really know my fiance, and she never really takes the time to talk to him. She doesn't, like, I know it's long distance because she's in Pennsylvania now and my fiance's here in California with me, but I wish I would see some effort and communication, you know? In one of my previous videos, I mentioned how my mom texts me good morning and good night every day, and I have a hunch it's her wanting to make sure I'm still alive because she freaked out when I didn't respond to her once when it hasn't even been like 24 hours. So I really feel like I don't have my mom's trust, and like my fiance doesn't either. And it's just not a good feeling. So that's just been painful for me. And then after the phone call that I had with my mom, she randomly texted me something that has to do with my fiance's vegan diet. And she was saying that like vegan diets cause mental disorders. And it just came out of the blue. Like we weren't talking about vegan diets. Like, why would she bring that up? It's like she was insulting his lifestyle, or just like, I don't know, it seemed inappropriate to me. It just always feels like she's criticizing me and criticizing him and criticizing our relationship, and it doesn't feel good. Sometimes you just kind of gotta butt out and let people live their lives. Give them space. You can't control them, even if you love them. Anyway, so I've just been dealing with a lot of, you know, pain and stuff, and in therapy, I've been talking about my childhood and uncovering my childhood traumas and living in an enmeshed, dysfunctional family. And it's just really, you know, brought a lot of awareness to me, and It helps me understand why I am the way I am, why I struggle with anxiety and depression, and so on. Anyway, after all these realizations, I decided I don't want my mom to attend my wedding. It sounds horrible. Those words sound really ugly coming out of my mouth. But after that phone call where I felt like I was being bullied, and there were other things that were said in that phone call too that were very offensive, but I'm not even gonna get into it. But basically, I was really hurting. And the weird thing was that my mom texted me and said, I really enjoyed that phone call with like a bunch of heart emojis. And I was just like, you enjoyed that? Like, did you not realize that you were just like actively like insulting me like one after the other? Like, I just don't understand. And yeah, so like I decided I don't want my mom to be at the wedding celebrating our love and our marriage if she's suspicious of it, if she's not trusting of us, because it doesn't feel good. I want people to be there who are celebrating our love with us, people who are, respecting us. And I don't expect people to be perfect, nobody is, but my mom just hurt me so bad that I just felt like I had to speak my mind and let her know how I feel. So, yeah. So, like, I sent her a text saying she's not invited to the wedding because of X, Y, and Z. And at the end of the message, I said, just so you know, this wasn't an easy decision to make. It was actually a painful one, but I felt like it was best because I wanted her to know, like, I'm not doing this to hurt her. I'm not doing it because I just want to. I'm doing it because I genuinely feel uncomfortable around my mom. I feel scared of her. I don't feel okay around her. And I felt like I had to express that. And the way I saw it was, I gave her my reasons, and I said it respectfully. I didn't call her names. I didn't outright insult her. I just said, these are the things that I am uncomfortable about, that I'm upset about. And so what I was hoping was that she would listen and take those things under consideration, maybe evaluate her behavior or feelings towards me. And I was hoping that she would have a change of heart. Instead, my plan completely backfired. So, and I just want to mention, my fiance was on board. He was on board with me for this whole thing because he sees that my mom has hurt me so many times. And yeah, we just felt like it would be better if she wasn't there at the wedding. She has screamed at me and ruined my birthdays in the past. By past, I mean just a couple years ago. I'm not saying, oh, it's a long time ago and she changed. No. So I don't want to risk her making me feel terrible on my wedding day. So my wedding is reserved for people who have at least decent behavior, like they're not gonna make me cry. So anyway, yeah, so what happened was after my mom got the text, she never said a word back to me. She never texted back. She never called me back. But I was getting texts and calls from my family, and they were freaking out and telling me that my mom lost the will to live and that she's crying hysterically. And they were demanding me to call her back and apologize. And so what I did was I listened to the voicemails they sent. I read the text, but I didn't respond to them. They called me a coward for doing that, and I didn't ignore them because I was scared to respond to them. I did it because I thought, okay, this is traumatizing for my family. They see mom is really upset, she's crying hysterically, there's something bad going on, there's something negative going on in the family. So it's normal to react that way, and I figured I'm gonna give them time to cool off. I'm gonna let it sink in for them, and then they can think rationally, And yeah, so that was all yesterday, and today I haven't heard anything from them. I'm hoping they'll come around, and I think what really hurts is that in this enmeshed family, you know, where my mom is the leader of the family, that's how the family dynamic is. She is the head of the house. Because she is upset, everyone else is upset too. And I am automatically the villain. I think what hurts me is I feel like I'm a broken bride. I am hurt. I wish my mom could have been there at the wedding. But because of these circumstances, I feel like it's best if she's not. So I really wish that instead of my family pointing fingers at me and labeling me as bad, you know, I guess they think I'm not Christian-like and I'm just evil and heartless. I wish they would ask me what's wrong. I wish they would say, oh my God, like, why would you make a choice like that? You know, because there must be a reason. I'm not just trying to be evil for fun. They know me better. This actually probably is shocking to them because it probably seems really out of character for me because normally I'm so kind to them. I know I'm not perfect, so yeah, sometimes I do upset them, but something this big, like not inviting my mom to my wedding, that's really shocking. I get it. But I wish they would think rationally and try to, you know, talk to me and just, instead of demanding an apology from me, why don't they say, did mom do something to upset you? What led up to this? Let's try to fix it. Let's try to mend the relationship. Nope. I am automatically a horrible, evil monster, and they don't even know my side of the story. They don't know the conversation I had on the phone with my mom. They don't know how bad the past has been hurting me and that I'm going to therapy for it. In the text I sent to my mom, I said, as of now, I don't want you to attend my wedding. What I meant by that was, as of now, because of the way you are. Implying that if you were willing to change, you know, to acknowledge what's going on and change, I'll reconsider. But my mom is crying hysterically like my family has never seen before. That's what they told me. And they said that it's traumatizing them. I kind of feel like my mom's response to this was unhelpful because, okay, I get it. Her emotions are valid. It is heartbreaking. It is hard to hear. But showing the family that, it's scaring them. It is traumatizing. And I kind of just wish that my mom would just take a moment to think, why did my own daughter, say this to me? Did I really do something that hurt her, that upset her? The issue is, I can only assume she thinks she didn't do anything wrong. And that's just, I feel like that's how it's been my whole life. I always feel like I was silenced, like my opinions didn't matter. I always felt like I was just stepped all over. And since I'm living out here, away from my family, I was finally, you know, finding myself, you know, happier and like I'm healing. And since my wedding date, I just feel like everything is happening all over again. I feel like everything from my past is catching up with me again, and the whole family dynamic and enmeshment, and it's kind of traumatizing for me. So I didn't want to have to make this choice, but I did. And now the rest of my family isn't coming to my wedding because of what I did to mom. Not one person has reached out to me and asked if I'm okay, if she hurt me, if there's anything that can be done. No. They're so quick to just label me a bad person and not really like look at the big picture of what's really going on. So that is very hurtful for me to be seen that way. And I felt like this most of my life, unfortunately. That's kind of why I wanted to get out. And, you know, I grew up in a very, very strict household. I felt like I couldn't be myself. A lot of times I wasn't allowed to leave my house. I pretty much had to escape with my fiance to leave home. If there's one thing I want you all to understand, it's something called generational trauma. I want you to know that I don't hate my parents, and that wouldn't be Christian-like if I did. I love them, and I was really heartbroken because of my mom's pain. Not because she's not, well, I mean, it is because she's not going to the wedding, but just hearing that she was crying in such a traumatizing way, it hurts. And it left me questioning if what I did was even acceptable. But anyway, going back to the topic of generational trauma, my parents were both abused. When they were kids, they were abused, and they both had really terrible lives, really sad lives. They both experienced trauma at a young age. So, I try to be understanding of where they came from. They carry a lot of trauma with them to this day. I don't believe they're mentally healthy because of it. I really feel like it followed them after all these years. And to me, learning about those things was an answer. It kind of explained to me why my parents behave the way they do, why my family is the way it is, and why I am the way I am. That generational trauma is passed down. I am very much affected by it. It hurts, and I'm trying to make a recovery. And it really hurts me that my parents come from a generation where mental health isn't exactly recognized. You know, it's more common for younger people to acknowledge they have anxiety or depression and, you know, seeking a diagnosis and, you know, be willing to take medicine and try therapy, you know, for healing. But it really seems like the older generations aren't so open-minded. Some of them can be a little stubborn, and it's not their fault, it's the generation that they come from. Because mental illness used to be seen as a bad thing. Whereas now, it's something that we're more open to acknowledging and treating, you know? In the old days, people didn't talk about mental illness, especially if they themselves had it. They wouldn't tell people. It was like it was a big secret. And that's the generation my parents come from. Yeah, so they have untreated traumas and stuff, and unfortunately it affected me. It affected my whole family. And so I feel like it's really important to tell you all that, because for those of you who do know my family, please don't be harsh with them. Please don't hate my parents and tell them they're terrible, because really, I believe they're not terrible at all. I think they're suffering. I really see a lot of suffering in my family. And I really hope that they can eventually have awareness and be brave, because I think it takes some courage to want to get help. And it just hurts me to see the suffering that's going on. And I would love to see things get better. I would love to see healthy relationships in the family. I think that would be very beautiful and healing for all of us. I wish my family, well, you know what, I think maybe I'm done saying I wish, because I can't control them. I can't control anyone. I can't control the things that happen to me. It's just a part of life, and I just have to accept it. I said a prayer for my mom before I sent her the text message that I don't want her at my wedding. I was praying for her because I was saying, like, God, I hope she takes it well. I hope she understands where I'm coming from. I hope that you can comfort her. I hope that you can give her peace. I hope that you can give her healing. And I can only hope that praying for her was helpful, because I felt like in that situation it was the least I can do. I really feel like I've put up with a lot over the years, and I was always excusing bad behavior and mistreatment, and I finally decided I'm in control of my life, and I'm gonna take charge now. I've been hurt so many times, and I'm not always gonna be able to prevent it, but this is something I feel strongly about, so I'm putting my foot down, and I'm not doing it out of hate, and this whole thing has just been really hard. My family said that they hope I'll have a change of heart after what I did to my mom. If only they knew. But it doesn't matter, because my mom is the head of the house, and if she's upset, everyone else is upset because of family enmeshment. Just really feels like my family is in one big old tangled mess. I've been feeling the ick whenever I'm around my mom. I mean, I haven't been around her for a while since I've been living out here, but when she texts me and when she calls me, I don't feel good. And I know that's not a healthy relationship. So I had to really ask myself, why do I feel this way? And yeah, so after coming to that conclusion and understanding things, yeah, I made my choice. And I'm not too happy about it, but I think it's the best choice that I could have made in this situation. My family is pointing fingers at my fiance and at my therapist and other things. They think that I'm negatively being influenced by them and that they're convincing me not to invite my mom and to be distant from my family and whatever. This was done on my own. This was ultimately my choice. No one's controlling me right now. I have free will. You know, it's amazing how my mom was able to control me all those years, not letting me leave my house or make friends or anything, and all of a sudden, fingers are being pointed at my fiance, and they're saying he's the bad guy, and he's controlling me, and he's abusing me. But after years that I went through of abuse and being controlled, it's just not recognized in my family. I might make another video talking about my childhood and talking about growing up in a strict household. Technically I did record the video once, but I didn't make it public because I thought to myself, well, this is just too personal. It's too invasive to share this information about my family. But I honestly at this point might put it out there just for awareness, because here I am at 27 and it took me this long to get where I am today, which is finally standing up for myself, finally going to therapy and healing and acknowledging, you know, my upbringing and validating my feelings and understanding everything, you know, not everything, but just understanding where I come from and why I am the way I am and why I've been struggling in certain areas. It's just, a lot of it is starting to make sense, and I really feel like it's important to me, and it's been part of the healing process for me. So I might make a video like that just because I want my voice to be heard. I want people to be able to connect and relate with me, and I really, really hope that it can be done respectfully. Again, I love my family. I love my mom. I love her to death. And the last thing I want is for people to see this video and hate on my family and hate my mom, or to even hate me. Maybe some of you think I'm the problem, and whatever, everyone's, you know, entitled to their beliefs, but this video is intended for people to just listen to my story, maybe find comfort in the fact that they're not alone, or, you know, share similar struggles or the same struggles. Yeah, so I guess that's really all I have to say. I might give you guys an update if anything changes. I really hope that my family comes around and, you know, can look at things rationally, and we can talk about things and express how you feel, and that we can heal together. If not, it is what it is. But I'm leaving my decision out there. I'm not going to backtrack on what I said, on what was done. I'm going to try and be strong. I almost did want to give in and apologize, but I thought I did this for a reason. I feel very strongly about this, and I'm just going to stick with it, even though it's hurtful, even though I feel pain in my heart. I had trouble sleeping last night. I'm just going to go with it. Time will heal, you know? So yeah, I'm just kind of going through a difficult time, and I really hope you guys could be respectful in the comments. You don't need to, you know, express if you think I'm right or wrong, or my family's right or wrong. Maybe we could just talk about relating to these things. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.